Good afternoon and welcome to the 20th edition of SEC Live from yours truly, Jackson Johnson, here with me from Unfair Sports, the one and only himself, Eric Cooper, here to help me dissect a little bit about the bragging rights for the SEC between the Alabama-Oklahoma matchup. And let me tell you something, folks, you're going to be in for a wild ride. How you doing today, good buddy?
Hey man, just enjoying college football in December, and man, there's a lot of people who may have conversations around, did the right teams get in and everything like that. But when the end goal is to have a phenomenal helmet game such as Alabama versus Oklahoma in the college football playoffs, I think there's everybody wins, right? If you look at how many people are watching Alabama, how many people are watching Oklahoma, just teams in the SEC in general. I mean, this is what the people want. People want to see a helmet game. Everybody knows what Alabama is. Everybody knows who Oklahoma is. And, we may still be tinkering this coming year with how you're picking out these playoffs. Somebody's always going to feel left out at some point. But, when it all boils down to it, it is two absolute, top echelon fan bases, and people tune in to see it.
Agreed, no doubt about it. And we'll start off the show a little bit with the discussion of whether Kalen DeBoer was going to go to Michigan or not. After all, he put out like a statement that, "Oh, I'm not going to Michigan. I'm not going there." So it was like the guy that was buying Warner Bros. Or is trying to buy Warner Brothers, like, I could buy Kalen DeBoer from Alabama.
Yeah.
Surely I can do that, but yeah, no. Kellen DeBoer is not Lane Kiffin, but when seeing the statement right on what was going on with that, what did you think about it, Eric?
I mean, you've got a lot of coaching movement this year, right? So it's not like this is a completely um out of the box or just outrageous thought process. Kalen DeBoer has a lot of upper Midwest ties. He was at Washington. He was over in the area. He's taken this mantle of following the great Nick Saban. And I have to pause also, Jackson, going through a head cold. So if I have to pause, like turn and sneeze or something
You're
like that,
good.
I
You're good, my
apologize to
guy.
everybody.
Oh,
But
no worries,
uh,
man. You're good.
I'll always feel it kind of coming in. But with Kalen, um, we still don't know what's going to happen, right? There were some whispers about the Strone Moore situation that started happening. I do believe that they sat on that information for quite a long time, therefore creating the opportunity for Michigan to make plans. So whenever I hear a coach say, I have talked to nobody, I'm not speaking with any other schools, that is 100% accurate, but that doesn't mean anything, right?
No.
So I have never spoken to anybody at Amazon about purchasing anything from Amazon. That doesn't mean that I haven't bought anything from Amazon, right? So I mean, his agency, his representation is going to be the ones that are doing this. They're going to be the ones having the conversations, and so you can say that. And we at Oklahoma, we have a very very intimate, understanding of what a coach could be doing behind the scenes while telling everybody, "I'll hold you right there. I am not going to be the head coach at LSU." While the dudes negotiate, his folks are negotiating with USC. So
Mhm.
I still think that there's still a lot of coaching shuffling is going to probably be happening.
Oh,
There's a lot of craziness that's going to come from it because obviously if your head coach is on the outs, you then can take some time to enter your name in the transfer portal. I know that some of the players, at Michigan, they may not dig who may or may not come, and so maybe they want to take a look around with this new portal coming up.
true.
So um, all that being said, we dealt with it. Oklahoma, that is, the weeks leading into the Ole Miss game. Lane Kiffin was already rumored to go to Florida because after they fired Billy Napier, you thought, well, how much of a distraction is that going to be? Um, This is a distraction. It doesn't matter what Kalen DeBoer says because no player is sitting there and going, you know what, I fully believe him.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But what I do know, Kalen has a team coming to Norman, Oklahoma this Friday night, and he's got to have them ready to go because it's a rematch. There's Alabama has not looked, you know, full tilt since the Oklahoma game. And so, a lot of fans are going to be very, very frustrated if it looks like they're distracted or if it looks like there is, a reason other than play on the field that they missed out, advancing and going to play an Indiana team that I don't feel like any Alabama or Oklahoma fan is, too terrified of.
Yeah, I mean, like, looking at Alabama, Oklahoma this Friday night on ABC, that's gonna be a good one right there. Just kinda like seeing a rematch. And, just looking back at the season, Georgia's kryptonite was basically Alabama. And, Texas kryptonite was Georgia, and apparently this season it's been kryptonite for Oklahoma when going against Texas, and basically our kryptonite, Oklahoma, I mean, Alabama's kryptonite is
Yeah.
Oklahoma. But I said R because I showed my bias on that one, didn't I, ladies and gentlemen? Oh man, but anyway, but that's just been kind of what we've been seeing throughout the season, and how do you? Just looking at John Mateer, right? Earlier this season, he was just slinging long balls, right? But then when he was coming back from his surgery, he's not been able to throw the long ball. Although I couldn't help but notice Isaiah Satanga has been a key to victory, particularly against Missouri and LSU. And I know Thomas on defense was definitely a humongous turning point on putting a stop to Tennessee, making sure they were getting knocked out of the playoff race on November 1st on ABC. Um, how you feeling about the roster, and who are the guys we need to look out for those that are tuning in from the Oklahoma side of things on Friday?
I mean, I'll start on the defensive side of the ball. You made a comment. Owen Heineke, linebacker. Looking to try to get his another year of eligibility. He played lacrosse at Ohio State, and so he's played 3 years of football now. And so right now he's technically out of eligibility. He comes off the edge. He crushes Joey Aguilar. Our Mason Thomas picks up the ball and stiff arms a dude for like 15 yards down the field, and then takes off running. As I feel like as much as a lot of these big thick six opportunities happen for defensive ends, defensive tackles, none of these dudes want to run that far, right? You just saw it in I think Kyle Van Noy for Baltimore this weekend. He picks off a ball and then he hands it off to a defensive back to run the rest of the touchdown back because he's like, I'm too old for this ish. I'm not going to be doing that mess. And
Pulling
so
his old
our
Dan Glover.
yeah, our Mason Thomas makes his way all the way down. He pulls up at the end and had a quad injury, so he has been out since that play. Fun fact is, I actually, not to take it a different, kind of area. That's the only play I saw live of the Oklahoma Tennessee game. I lost my grandfather that week, and
Uh,
we were going out to eat with the family, and everybody's like, "What? The OU game's over there. Go look at it." And I was like, "No, I'm either going to be, I'm going to completely just show some self control here." And then all of a sudden, everybody in the restaurant starts screaming, and I look up and I'm like, "Oh crap!" So I got pretty excited during that play. But what made OU just a terrifying defense this year is the depth across the board. R. Mason Thomas was a big player. He went to SEC media days. He spoke about his growth as a player, and so you knew that name. You knew guys in the middle like Grayson Halton. You knew guys like Jaden Jackson, David Stone. But it was that who is going to be that other edge side that is going to be a relevant player. We have a few former 5-star and PJ Adebawara Adebawara. And this is a guy who, OU fans were looking really excited to get him up and going. You have Marvin Jones Jr., another former 5-star, committed to Georgia out of high school, transferred to Florida State, then came to OU. And then you have this guy who a lot of like really are inside players in the OU space, podcasting and whatnot, in Taylor Wine. And a lot of people were really excited about him quietly and confidently. Since our Mason's gone out, Taylor Wine has absolutely just been a terror. Whether it's sacking the quarterback, hurrying and pressuring, you saw against Alabama in the first game this year. He's the one who came around the corner and absolutely smacked Ty Simpson, and the ball, goes over, and we recovered the fumble. So you on in the defensive line, whoever they run out, you need to know that they're good. There's no fall off. This isn't old school Big 12 OU to where you've got like a couple guys who are really, really good and everybody else is just a guy on the football team. Like, you run 8 deep on the defensive line. And then I would like to say another name that I think Alabama fans that after 2 years probably know very well is Bowen. And I'm not even just talking Eli Bowen, but Peyton Bowen.
Peyton Bowen.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So Eli Bowen, so far in the past 2 years, has held, and I'm going to may fudge the stats here, but he's held Ryan Williams to 78 total yards receiving in the past 2 years combined. He had 87 yards on his interception return against Alabama in the first meeting this year. Eli, and now his big brother Peyton, who is a year older, who plays safety. Since interception against Tennessee, Peyton Bowen has been absolutely everywhere. I think that he's, the unqualified MVP of the team, co-MVP with the final guy that I'll speak on. But Peyton has been blocking field goals. He's been blocking punts. He's been batting down the final pass, of the Alabama game. He's the one who knocked the ball away. He has been absolutely everywhere. But Jackson, the name and what we Sooner fans talk about around here is Kip Lewis. Kip Lewis has been dubbed the governor of the state of Alabama. He had the Kip 6 against Auburn last year, seals the game, and puts OU up above for good. He had himself another return last year against Alabama in Norman. He was the guy screaming in Ty Simpson's face when he threw the pick to Eli Bowen. So Kip Lewis has been an absolute just terror when he's played either Auburn or Alabama the past 2 years. And he's the heart and soul of this defense. He's the guy that makes everything go. And but again, with this defense, I said it before the season, you're not going to see a Benerick winner. You're not going to see a Butkus winner. You're not going to see any of those types of things because this team is so strong across the board. Kip Lewis is like tied at number 16 in the nation in tackles on arguably the best defense in the country. So this team is thick throughout the whole, through every level. And early in the season, you saw teams play super conservative. OU didn't have very many turnovers, but there was also not very many yards being gained. And then starting with the Tennessee game, Tennessee, Ole Miss, etc., you saw teams decide, you know what, no, we're going to press what we want to do. And that's when the turnovers started happening. As this team tied for the lead in sacks on the season, leads the country by a very good margin in tackles for loss. Brent Venables wants you to put together 10 plays, 11 plays to go score. And if you're going to try to do that, he's betting that tackles for loss, sacks, and turnovers are going to happen at some point during that effort. And so you're not going to get the bombs. You're not going to get the big explosive runs. Genuinely, you're going to see, a team who, again, I think Alabama was a really, really good offensive team, when we met. And Brent Venables says, yeah, keep taking shots. We're going to get ours eventually.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Like, Kip Lewis has definitely got to look out for. I don't know why nobody's called him Kipper, like, Kipper the dog. Well, I always call him Kipper. I always call him Kipper for some reason. But he's fun to watch out for. There we go. Like a dog, do 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 do.
He's
Anyway,
Kip is a guy who, he's full of energy. A lot of people say, he's going to be talking trash, but he knows that he is the ringleader of this team when it comes to an energy standpoint. And man, if you're a linebacker, you really want to be able to operate freely, and you can't do that unless you have a defensive line that's keeping you clean. And so this defensive line has generally kept guys like linebacker core of Kobe McKenzie, Owen Heineke, Kip Lewis, Samuel Masigo, Kendall Daniels. All those guys are able to go out and do what they want to do. And, that's why you've seen a lot of really, crazy big hits. You've seen a lot of tackles for loss, because if offensive linemen can't get off the defensive lineman and get to the second level, then that guy just gets to read what happens. You play sound assignments football, and that's where a lot of those successes come from.
Well, one guy I'm really thinking about on offense on the Oklahoma side of things is Dion Burks. He's been good this season.
Dion and Dion's a guy who, coming into last year, I think he had 3 touchdowns, 100 yards receiving in the first game of the year. And I think I actually told Jay, my partner who does the show with me, I think I told him, I had his touchdown over under at 8. I'm going to have to reassess that number. And then he had, I think, one more the rest of the year. Dion Burks is a transfer in from Purdue. He's a guy who, him and Isaiah Satania are guys in the middle of the field that if you get the ball in their hands and they can scoot. Burks has not had the best year this year, but he is a guy who, you give him any lane, he is fast as hell, and he can take it to the house. He had a big touchdown run against LSU. It was a tunnel screen. They got it called right in the right play call, got blockers out in front, and he was gone. But on offense, the offense begins and ends with John Mateer. His best weapon is Isaiah Satania, tied second in the SEC in receiving yards. Probably got a good feeling that he'll probably end it by the end of the year, because I think Brazell over at Tennessee has opted out. He's going to the NFL. Brennan Thompson, Texas to OU, now to Mississippi State transfer. They don't have a bowl game. Oh, they do have one. They're actually going to have they got in because so many of the opt-outs. But he's a senior, so if he plays, it's 50-50 right there. Satania is a guy who every single day that he takes the field, whether it's in punt returns or matter it is, plays down along the sideline. This guy is a big playmaker, and he's just inevitable. You have the Avengers, Thanos. He always says, you can try to escape me, but I'm inevitable. Like, Satania is always going to end up with a big play in almost every single game, and you can hold the OU offense down for so long, and then it just pops, and there's going to, I think he had a big touchdown against LSU to seal the deal, send OU to the playoffs. He had another big one for his 80 some odd yards against Missouri, which at that point OU hadn't really done anything. And I think that just when you're playing OU in their offense, you just know that you got to keep an eye on Satania. You got to keep an eye on Burks. Now you're seeing Javonte Gibson, who broke his leg in spring. He's now finally up to full speed. You lost Keontez Lewis, another wide receiver in the Kent State game. He's the guy who his head went off the brick wall. And so he had issues with the concussions after that point. But all in all, this offense has really limped through the rest of through this back half of the season, starting with John Mateer with the broken hand. He also had a pretty bad knee at throughout the whole season, and he just wills it. He just pushes himself, and so this now will have the opportunity to see a healthy offensive unit from OU, and maybe they can get back to what they looked like against Michigan and against Auburn.
No doubt about it, and some guys to kind of look out for Alabama are definitely Jam Miller, because he's going to be back in the CFP, and we're going to be seeing Josh Cueves coming back at tight end. Although LT Overton on defense is doubtful, which I don't know why they just why can't they just say likely out instead of doubtful? They're just trying to put a nice way about it. But anyway, Some other guys to look out for: Jefferson on defense, Deontay Lawson, Bray Hubbard, Nikhil Hill Green, Yahtzee Pierre. I mean, those are guys to look out for on defense from the Alabama side of things. But for offense, for sure, Lottie Brooks is a guy to look out for. Isaiah Horton. Now, I know Ryan Williams, he's had a slump this season. But again, I would not throw the baby out with the bathwater on Ryan Williams. But that's just me.
You've got, I mean, Alabama is a team that I personally wonder, how do you feel? OU comes into the house, you outgain them, almost 2-1. It seems like every single time that you put a drive together, OU, put some doubt in everybody's minds. OU got up and OU led, 52 minutes and change of that game. I mean, Alabama had a lead for a very, very small portion of that game. And a lot of people say, obviously Alabama doesn't shoot themselves in the foot. I mean, you blitz a quarterback, you hit a quarterback, and turnovers happen. That's not shooting yourself in the foot. That's somebody shot your foot. And so, I look at a receiver core to Alabama that I feel like, when watching their games, there's been a lot of drops. I got, guys kind of getting into kind of awkward positions. But you have the Alabama OU game, and then Ty Simpson comes out against, and I can't remember who the FCS opponent was, but the next week he throws 2 more picks against them.
Eastern
And
Illinois.
yeah, so Eastern Illinois throws 2 picks against them. You then you go and you end the season with the Auburn game in the regular season, and again, that's a rivalry. So like when you talk about like OU Texas, it doesn't matter who's ranked where, that's going to be a tough game. But what was concerning was Auburn, who has been, I mean, a limp dead fish on offense since the Baylor game week 1. They outgained Alabama like OU got outgained. Now Auburn still ends up losing the game. But then you go into Georgia. Georgia takes the OU blueprint and absolutely just, steamrolls Alabama. So I wonder what their psyche's like. Yeah, you're getting some guys hurt who are hurt, a few weeks of rest. But I think OU is the absolute beneficiary of not having to play in the SEC championship game this year. They get a chance to let their running backs heal. They give a chance for John Mateer to get some health under his belt. Some dinged up guys like Jaden Jackson, who's been played hurt all year long.
Ugh.
He gets some rest. So you got 2 teams who've got some rest. OU has the benefit of the extra week, but now you get to come back to Norman. And we started off the show by talking about 2 helmets on a Friday night for the playoffs. And when I saw the Alabama, logo pop up on the selection show, on the Sunday where they show at number 9, I was pretty stoked just because you're going to have people who are going to shut their lives down early Friday morning and get excited about this game. Everybody in Norman, they're shutting down campus, shutting down almost everything for this game, because this is, like I said, this is why you bring these games back to campus for the round 1, is you want that pageantry, you want that feel. And I will say, OU had a lot of night games, this year. One of the big reasons why people were sick and tired of the Big 12 as OU fans was the fact that we had 11 a.m. kickoff, 11 a.m. kickoff, 11 a.m. kickoff. And I think this, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is like second night game of the entire season for OU. So you're looking forward to a really, really good game.
That's so
And,
weird. Only two night games for Oklahoma. That's weird.
And where I think LSU and in all their mediocrity, I think that they actually, I wanted to say they had like 6 or 7 night games all year long.
Doesn't LSU have a late night game? Good grief.
It's not exactly Pac-12 after dark, but it is kind of silly. But we thought that we would have the LSU game at night, but ended up being the 2:30 game, which okay for me. I was out hunting.
There you go, man. There you go. But yeah, just kind of like looking at this game, what would you predict Alabama, Oklahoma to be your final score on Friday?
Um, OU doesn't have to continue to put up, touchdown drives. OU is very, very, very comfortable with putting Tate Sandell, the Luke Rose Award winner, in field goal position. He had two 55-yarders and a 51-yarder and another field goal. I want to say it was 40 against Tennessee up in Neyland on Halloween night. This is a dude who absolutely just he's in a groove right now. So OU is going to be able to play with some confidence that you don't have to go 80 yards. You can go 35, 40 yards and put your kicker in good field goal position. I mean, I think I'm going to go with a similar prediction as I went last time. I think that it's going to be a game to where OU is probably going to win 27-13. I just think the defense, with a second opportunity to let Brent Venables plan that out, Alabama had to throw a lot of trickeration, a lot of shenanigans on offense. And I'll tell you one thing is that that didn't feel like we were playing Alabama. It felt like we were playing Texas Tech, the old school Texas Tech. You got to throw all these different, the fake outs and everything. I mean, it was 5 separate times that whether it was the fake clap, the fall down play with Jam Miller, everybody looking to the sideline and snapping the ball for Cuevas to bunch out. I think that some big playmakers such as Cuevas, guys like Justin Jefferson, a lot of these guys are limping a little bit, and they're going to be available, but I think they're going to be hurt. And I think that the home atmosphere at night, I think, gives OU quite a bit of an advantage.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Alabama winning 24-21 in a tight one. I mean, once again, like last time, this feels like a whoever gets to 24 first wins, and it's gonna be like that again. That's what it feels like it's gonna be between Alabama and Oklahoma.
I will say this: I don't care who it is. I think if Alabama or Oklahoma, whichever team wins, I mean, I would favor them against Indiana in the next game. And that's going to make a lot of Indiana fans upset. But welcome to college football, Indiana fans. But you look at who they've played. They played Iowa again, just horrid on offense, and they put up 20 points against them. Then they go out and they play Ohio State and they throw up 13 points against them. So it looks like when you play a good defense and you play people who actually are going to out athlete you, Indiana has a really, really tough time scoring. They lose one of their best defensive linemen. It's just kind of a freak celebration accident, on the sidelines after the game. So, man, I will say congratulations to Fernando Mendoza on the Heisman. I think his Heisman moment was first drive of the game, getting absolutely planted by the defensive end at Ohio State. He's down on the field for a commercial break plus. He gets his butt back up. He walks over. They play, and his brother comes in for a snap. He comes back out. I mean, I got to commend him for that because, I mean, that's a good time where you go, man, we're in the playoffs. I think I'm going to head to the locker room and hit the tub. But he came back out and he led his team to victory.
There you go, man. And it's going to be a fun ride, a good time for a long time on Friday night. I'm looking forward to this conference matchup between Alabama and Oklahoma. And, kind of like how everybody's closing up shop on Norman, Oklahoma. I got a feeling everybody's doing the same thing in Tuscaloosa, where it's like, kids, we're having a half day today. We're having an early winter break. So,
well,
I mean,
it's good. That's how you kick off the weekend. And then you get, obviously you see the two group of 5 teams get to play the next day. I think that A&M Miami game is probably the headliner for the Saturday, but regardless, it's playoff football time. And then, obviously as that starts happening, you're going to start seeing more of these bowl games. And, you want to see, what teams decide, congratulations for those who decided to go play a bowl game and not opt out of it. And I'll take a shot at teams like Notre Dame. It's just absolute joke, but bowl season, this is an opportunity for young guys to get practice. And if you take that away from your team, I mean, that seems pretty silly, but I've talked to a lot of the OU football players in the past, and some of their best memories are going to whatever bowl they went to, just because it was a getaway. You're on national TV. There's a lot of fun things like that, and there's going to be a fun bowl season. I think there's a lot of good matchups out there.
Oh, for sure. And just kind of like end this show with a bow. Just kind of like ask you, if just like looking back on the 7th of December, if you had to choose between Alabama, Miami, and Notre Dame, who would you want to play the most out of the three?
Ooh, um, I think that just for like what I would personally want is I would go with I mean I'd go with maybe Notre Dame. Notre Dame the last time they came to Norman, there a couple of bad things happened.
October 27th, 2012, with Brent Musburger and Kirk Herbstreit on the call on Saturday Night Football on ABC.
Yeah, so middle of the game, obviously we are big Oklahoma City Thunder fans around here too. Right in the middle of the game, announcement comes across that we have traded James Harden. And so you saw that and you're like, oh my goodness. Big name players that were out there. That was the year that Manti Te'o really catfished his way into America's hearts. He had an outstanding game. Another situation where we have quarterback issues that year. The following year, we go back to South Bend and we lay it to them. But that was one of the toughest games to watch. We had a lot of struggles on offense. So I think that OU would have loved to see Notre Dame come to Norman once again. But I mean, I don't think Alabama, Miami, Notre Dame. I don't think that there's a bad selection in that. Those are all big games. OU's defense would love to play Carson Beck. Carson Beck loves to throw you the football and give you those opportunities. So we'll see what happens.
He doesn't
In
tip.
that other game.
He kind of looks like Mr. Pink on Reservoir Dogs.
I think he looks like the sloth character out of Ice Age myself, but
Oh
he's
yeah, Sid.
Sid, yeah, he's made himself a good career after leaving Georgia. He's had some ups, he's had some downs, but it's Miami. The last time Miami came to Norman, Sam Bradford was quarterback, and OU beat them handily. I think it's 20 to 30 point victory there, and so it's been a while though. I mean, because that's what was that? That's probably 2007, 2006, 2008, somewhere around there.
Oh yeah. Man, it would have been fun to see Oklahoma Miami, but you know what? That's okay. Bama Oklahoma rematch, that's pretty cool. Little chance at revenge is fun, but also, just kind of like wondering, man, what if we had an Oklahoma Texas A&M matchup? That would have been fun as well. But you know what? We'll get to see that again next year, I believe. Because
Yes.
yeah, and how'd you feel about that 2026 schedule? Like, that was so fun.
Man, I think OU finishes 8 straight weeks without a bye. So I mean, there's you get Georgia bye and then Texas. OU has just always seemingly found a way over the past 3 or 4 years to be either with an extremely hobbled quarterback or not one at all against Texas. And so I'm hoping next year you get a full strength squad, not a dude bleeding from surgery 17 days prior. But then after you go on that, I mean, you got trips like going out to Cowbell Land for Mississippi State. You get, I don't think very many OU fans were excited about ending the season with Missouri again. I think they're kind of trying to force feed that rivalry, but it looks like a pretty good schedule. You replace. We will miss Alabama. That's been something that I think that, especially with this game on Friday. I would like to maybe see an OU Alabama annual game, just because of the fact that that's much more alluring than a Missouri or now an Ole Miss, not having any clue about what that's going to look like. But OU is going to have, as of today, OU has 4 new head coaches on that schedule next year. And like I said, with the carousel still active, could be more.
Oh yeah, especially with Black Monday coming up in the NFL. Coaches are getting fired. But
it's you can set your clock to it.
Yep, rock around the clock. Like that guy that sings like Norm Macdonald says. Oh man. Well, Eric, what have you got going on Unfair Sports, good buddy?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you were talking playoffs. Jay and I typically go on Wednesday, Sunday nights, 6 p.m. We've had a lot of fun. I think that we may have a couple of Alabama guys joining us tomorrow nights, and so we're gonna have that going down. You can check us out. Jay over at Unfair Sports, myself, Eric Cooper. We're also working on a couple of other new things, and hopefully after a meeting here in the next couple of days, we'll have some fun news to announce. But Jay and I trying to not just cover Oklahoma, but take our crimson colored glasses off and cover the SEC and talk about those games. It's a lot more exciting to be able to talk about quality teams throughout the conference. Quality players. Great matchups. Because I guess no shade to Kansas State, but I'd rather talk about Tennessee versus Georgia or Florida versus Texas. Those just are bigger games with bigger implications year in and year out.
There we go, man. So tell your friends, your family, and the cashiers at pubs about the magic that Eric brings on Unfair Sports with Jay Smith on Unfair Sports. And give him a follow on Eric_Cooper82 on @/Twitter. And you can check me out on Jackson Johnson 979, where I have my show, The Jacksonian, where there's numerous episodes coming your way. And ironically, Eric and I are going to be teaming up again, coming on with Rocket Rant on CFP Express, talking a little bit about Alabama, Oklahoma. So this is going to be a party for sure. And you can also check me out on Alabama with the Voice College Football, including tonight's edition of Primetime Live with Travion Ware and myself, 6 p.m. Central Time. And for more updates, what I've got going on here on SEC at the Voice College Football, including tomorrow night with Tucker and Andrew, and Alabama at the Voice College Football, the Jackson. Check me out on JacksVSFB on @/Twitter and on Instagram threads at JacksonJohnson543908. And with that being said, we wish y'all a happy Tuesday night, and to stay safe, stay warm. It's cold out, and to like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell to SEC at the Voice College Football so you never miss another video whatsoever, and we will be seeing you soon. Take care, everybody.